Let's get to our Cowboy insider Bobby Belt's film room.
All right, you want to do Giants offense or defense first?
Defense.
All right, let's talk about the defense. This is there are a lot of different numbers associated with this Giants defense that I think when you look at the 2024 rates versus what they did in week 1, it's a little difficult to extrapolate and say, oh, they're doing something really different with Shane Bowen this year because they're going against Jaden Daniels. And when you're going against Jaden Daniels and Cliff Kingsbury's offense, it causes you to have to treat them a specific way, I think, in a lot of instances that you don't have against other teams. So here's some of the notes about the Giants after week 1. They had the 3rd worst pressure rate in the NFL last week. They ran man coverage. We talked about how the Cowboys just don't run any of it. The Giants ran man coverage 40% of the time. That was 9th in the NFL in week 1. This is the thing, the split safety look, which we all hate the split safeties. We don't like the too high shell. That's irritating when you take away the deep passing game. That's no fun.
Makes football boring. Killed the Chiefs.
They were the 4th lowest rate of too high safeties in the NFL in week 1 at 24%, and they were 4th lowest last season at 31%. So they will play generally with a single high defender. And so that's a good thing right there, is that I think that you're going to be able to take advantage of some things, specifically these corners. So they've got some absolute bums in coverage in the middle of their defense. The linebackers, the safeties, they struggled to cover Washington in week 1. And I like Paulson Adebo. Shout out to Mansfield High School, Peyton. I like Paulson Adebo and the feistiness that he plays with. Drew Phillips, another scrappy kind of corner. I like the competitiveness. That's all there. Cordell Flott, number 28, is picked on relentlessly. Washington just went, where is he? Go. Right there. Attack him. Get the ball out over there. And if I'm Dak, that's exactly what I'm doing. Pre-snap, I'm just going, where's Cordell Flott? All right, we're going to audible into just throwing to that guy.
Get another corner bench like they did CD last week in Philadelphia.
100%. Just draw something, a Dory Jackson him. Just draw it up in the dirt.
Marshawn Lattimore last night. What happened to him?
That was pretty brutal. Now, if you got you remember the old Terrell Owens claim that Jason Witten and Tony Romo were drawing up their plays on the napkin?
Oh, yeah, of course.
We need napkin plays this week to just say, let's get to Cordell Flott and let's go there. I think he gives a lot of effort. I think he plays with a competitive demeanor, but he is not good. He gets turned around way too easily. He seems to have literally about a 1-second delay in reaction time for everything they're doing on defense, whether it's reading the run, whether it's reacting to a receiver's break, driving on the ball, whatever it is, he just seems to have this delay. And I think he almost recognizes some of those processing issues, so he gives receivers kind of some cushion because I don't think he feels he can react in tight quarters.
CeeDee Lamb yesterday was talking about that connection with Dak Prescott. That was working very, very well last week before the drops.
Yeah, I mean, at that moment, that's when we lean on each other as brothers, because at the end of the day, he know I got him and vice versa. And then a game like that coming up short in a division game, granted, it was big. Trust me, I've thought about it. I've dwelled on it. I've done everything that you could possibly imagine about this game. So for all those that feel like they feel worse about that game than me, you're absolutely wrong.
Week 1, so the secondary, you can take advantage of Cordell Flott for sure. You can take advantage of some of the middle of the field because their linebackers aren't very good in coverage. The thrust of what they do on defense, where they've invested all their resources, is the front four and their players in the trenches. So you've got Kayvon Thibodeau, who is a top pick. You've got Dexter Lawrence. They just drafted Abdul Carter.
Burns.
You made the trade for Burns and paid him. So they've got a lot of guys there that they've...
Yeah, tell me why this defensive line just doesn't wreck whoever they go up against.
So last year, Dexter Lawrence did consistently wreck people. Brian Burns wrecks people. So last year, they had good play with their front four. Week 1, and it's not like the Commanders were thought to have one of the best offensive lines in football. And the Giants just... I don't know what it was in week 1 why they didn't have a lot of success. They're I don't want to say they're soft. They don't play with a lot of power up front. So when you watch the front seven in the run game, Washington has no problem. Every single pile, whenever you get those big piles that happen on a 2-yard run and it usually just stops there, I'm saying every single one was always 3, 4, 5 extra yards of just Washington going, all right, just move them. Move them, push it forward. It's not even going to be a problem. I love Dexter Lawrence. I know they've got real stars in the front four, but Washington bullied them, and it feels like it might be a good day for Javonte Williams. Abdul Carter was decent in week 1, but he was kind of limited at times. There wasn't a whole lot of just, all right, go get him. Go play the Micah role. He was used to spy Jaden Daniels on a bunch of different occasions, so we might not have a good idea of what he's going to be used like against Dallas because they don't have a Jaden Daniels type of threat.
But now we're going to see him cut it loose just rushing.
I would imagine. Now, I mean, they could be using him in some coverage stuff like that. It's hard to tell because Jaden Daniels is such a unique threat, and them having him spy, like we don't know how they typically would use him.
But you thought Carter was a freak coming out?
Yeah, I never thought he was Micah level, but I mean he was really really good. He absolutely was somebody he's one of the top 5 players that you would take in the draft. I'm worried about Brian Burns and Kayvon Thibodeau. Burns over Guyton and Kayvon Thibodeau over Terrence Steele because Burns is one of the best pass rushers in the game. He had 2 sacks against Washington. He is a really good rusher. He's got a rush plan. Those sort of things against a young guy who's still developing in Tyler Guyton, that can be a bit of a problem. On the other side, Thibodeau has the best initial get off of their guys. He's quick, he's explosive, he's got that.
He's been a disappointment so far?
Yes. Yeah. He's not been.
He's a big mouth.
Yeah, he's not been what he was supposed to be. He was thought to be the best player in the draft when he was coming out. Like that was the thing. And so there was question if the Giants would even pick up the 5th-year option. But the way he has his get off and the things that he can do to really stress Terrence Steele and set him up for some inside moves and things like that, I'd be concerned about their ability to do that.
Brian Broaddus weighing in, saying Bobby's making some excellent points. Their secondary does not help them in any ways with their front.
And with that being said, with the talent that they have in the front 4 and the way they can get after the passer, Washington did manage to block things up pretty well for most of the game. Burns had those sacks, like I said. Jane Daniels had to move a little bit, but there were a lot of times where Jane Daniels could just drop back and kind of just stand there and look and go, oh, okay, all right, let's just push the ball downfield. If Dallas gives Dak that same time, he will throw for 400 yards in this game because they can't cover very well. And so, I mean, if they're not generating any pressure, if they're not stressing Dallas at all, then you're going to see Dak pick them apart.
Dang, he ran for almost 70 yards.
Do you want to go to the offense now, or do you want to break that up for something later? Okay, all right. Giants allowed the 4th most pressure in week 1. It was about half of every drop back. So I feel really bad for Russell Wilson. I think on legitimately every drop back in week 1, he either had to change his arm angle, throw off his back foot, scramble, rush a throw sooner than he wanted, or take a sack on, I think, just about every drop back.
The most consistent thing in my cell phone over the last 10 years, whether it be business, personal, sports, kids, the most consistent thing in my cell phone over the last decade has been the meatballs, my New York Giant college friends crying about their offensive line. That's all I heard last week 1.
Yep.
That's it. Don't put Jackson Dart behind this offensive line. They still haven't fixed the offensive line. We've been talking about this, it feels like, for a decade. Odigizua, by the way, recorded the 4th highest pass rush win rate out of qualified D tackles in week 1, 18%. Of course, Jerry loved referencing the 40%. Cowboys' second best win rate in the entire NFL. Jerry will be on with the KNC Masterpiece today at 10:30 as they pass out Tolo hats at Taco Bueno, North Collins in Arlington.
Yeah, and that's they've tried to put resources into there.
Just the never mind. That made me chuckle the way it was just said.
Which?
The pass out the hats, the Taco Bueno, it made me chuckle. I don't know why. I don't know why I found it funny. It just made me chuckle.
I'm worried about you too.
I've been fine the last 2 days.
It's nothing bad. It's just random things.
Yeah,
it's just,
of course.
I'm starting to wonder about age on this show.
I've been fine the last 2 days.
Yeah.
I've
We're the same age.
Perfectly fine.
You're older than me,
like a year.
But I don't have I think my cognitive is there compared to you two right now. It's funny.
Because of 3 days early this week?
Yeah, it started. Well, we'll see where it goes.
But that's 3 days. Choppy's been doing this for 2 years.
Oh, no, Choppy's gone.
Listen,
Choppy's already gone.
Very random. Okay,
yesterday he was scratching his armpit randomly, and then the Taco Bueno hat giveaway. I guess I tied it all in a funny way.
Yeah, I mean, look, the armpit scratch. It's if it's itchy, it's itchy.
Bobby Belt film room study here on the Fan.
All right. Who are they playing again this week? All right. So the Giant Russell Wilson is I don't know. I don't think Russell Wilson's very good anymore. But
he ran the ball effectively. I was surprised.
They're not giving him a shot. They are not. They're not helping him out, at least in week 1. I think that Giants have tried to address their offensive line. They took Andrew Thomas in the top 5. They took Evan Neal in the top 10. Evan Neal's been a bust. John Michael Schmitz, their center, was a guy they picked in the second round who a lot of people thought was a first-round player. And it's when you think of the Giants, I think like we were just kind of talking about, you always think about blue collar, they're tough, like lunch pail guy kind of players. Like I don't know if that's just a carryover from the Parcells years and it just has maintained this whole time. But just like their defensive line in the trenches, they don't play with a lot of power. They couldn't sustain blocks against Washington. They get next to no movement in short yardage situations. Their communication is so bad on the offensive line. It's really, there was a play where I think it was Daniel Bellinger, the tight end, was motioning in the second quarter of this game, and they snap the ball and they're running into the tackle. There's another one where Cam Scadaboo, his second carry, he just runs into one of the offensive linemen who's falling backwards. They just clunk heads and fall down. It is a mess. The communication's bad. They don't seem to have an understanding of like, okay, this is your assignment. You need to handle this. There's a complete failure to pick up some of the rushers. I think you mentioned Inoso Odigizua. I think this is a golden opportunity because John Michael Schmitz showed some vulnerability in pass protection at center. And if Tyrone Tracy, the running back, is their last line of defense, protecting Russell Wilson, picking stuff up, he's dead because he is bad in pass protection. Wan'Dale Robinson,
ain't
who
very good in running either.
No, he's not. Now I should say Andrew Thomas, who missed last week, their best offensive lineman. He had a foot issue. He did not participate in practice on Wednesday. He was limited yesterday. So we'll see if he's on track to play. I know yesterday Paul Schwartz from the New York Post told us didn't have a good read on it yet, but there was a shot he could go. They just didn't have a good understanding of that. Wan'Dale Robinson, though, is their big joystick kind of gadget player. So
Kentucky.
There's not a lot they can do to push the ball down the field because of the issues with the offensive line protecting things. So because of that, a lot of quick throws in space to Robinson. That is the safety valve. Like, we need to pick up some yardage, get the ball in Wan'Dale Robinson's hands. In fact, Wan'Dale Robinson, Tyrone Tracy, the running back, Cam Scadaboo, they will kind of rotate them around to where it's like your motion, any one of those guys, and 2 of those are running backs, 1 is a receiver, any one of those guys could be lined up out wide in the slot or in the backfield. And, I mean, they'll swap Tracy and Robinson, where Robinson's standing in the backfield. Tracy's lined up out wide. Tracy was a former receiver at Purdue. And so that's how they kind of play things. They try to get an advantage by tricking some of those things up. If Andrew Thomas can return and the Giants can block a little, Malik Neighbors is terrifying, especially with Deron Bland out of the game.
Yeah.
He is such a beautiful route runner. He has such great body control. I can't remember which Washington DB was on him, but he had this out route that I mean, he created 7 yards of separation with just like one plant of his foot and break outside.
Giants beat writer said last week the game plan resorted to just kind of heaving it up to Neighbors. Like just
a solid game plan.
Just tossing it up to him.
By the end, that had become like, because they were down, so they were trying to just figure out anything they could. Early on, Robinson was kind of their option, but it's not pretty for them offensively. And then the last note here, at least in week 1, and I don't know, I'd have to look and see what his tendencies have been. I don't know if they stand out. Brian Daboll was cowardly in week 1 with some of the things he was doing. Some of the 4th down calls, 4th and short opportunities in moments that felt like really critical junctures. It's 7-0 early, and Washington's been overwhelming you. You get 1st and goal from the 2, they fail on 3 straight, and then they just kicked the field goal on 4th and goal from the 2. And then you had other instances where it's like 4th and 3 at the start of the 4th quarter, you're down 15, you're at midfield, and they punted. And so some of these things that these calls that he made, these decisions that he made in higher leverage situations, it felt like he was just, okay, all right, let's play it safe. Let's just live to see another day. And so I can see some of the frustration that would have existed not only for Neighbors, but some of the guys on offense in general, of just like, let us do something here. Let us be a little more aggressive.
So what you're saying is he didn't put his neck on the line, but he doesn't have a neck. It's like me.
Exactly.
And that's
He's
a sign
spineless.
of cowardice. Yeah, absolutely.
Is he thought of as like a really good X's and O's guy?
Mm-hmm. Okay. He was thought of that way at Alabama and Buffalo. Now, I mean, obviously, some people would say,
yeah, come on now.
The Giants are, no, but I mean,
you got Bama talent back then, and then you got Josh Allen.
He gets a lot of credit for developing Josh Allen. That's why he got the job. Like he was considered a guy who did who was a big part of that development. But yeah, I mean, he's thought of as generally being a very bright offensive back. We can ask Schottenheimer about him when we have him on. They were on staff together with the Jets for 2 years, but Yeah, Daboll's thought of generally being a very bright mind, and I think some people just wonder, is it the context of you're with the Giants and it's going to be a mess there right now?